Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashlynn if you're new here. Today's video is going to be the relationship, I guess, like questionnaire opinion. Somebody wanted a relationship advice video, but like, I'm not perfect. Nobody is perfect in relationships. So I mean, I don't think I should be giving advice per se, but you know, I'm here for you. So with that being said, I have notes. I was gonna type them up, but I didn't want to be like on a computer, so I wrote them out old-fashioned. Basically like the questions that you guys asked me from Instagram, which if you don't follow me on other social medias, I'll put them like here, somewhere on the screen for you guys to go follow me. So definitely make sure you do that. If you haven't already, press the subscribe button, like, give me a comment below. Actually, you know what, wait till later in the video to comment, but like and subscribe. I'll give you a moment. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and get started because I don't want to waste time. I really don't want this to be like a super long video. I'm sorry if you guys can hear an echo because I'm filming in my living room. But oops, sorry. Anyways, I'm gonna get right to it, right? So question one, or the first question someone asked me was, what do I think makes a good relationship? So the first component is going to be trust, okay? Trust is important to me because through trust, you can build rapport with a person. Through trust, you can learn that person well enough to want to practice honesty with that person. If you trust a person, typically you're more comfortable with that person, which again loops back into honesty. And also you can build respect for that person, if I haven't said it already. Was it respect that I didn't say, or consideration? Okay, so that's like the first key component of any relationship. And I'm talking about business, love, friendship, otherwise, right? So good communication is the second key for me, right? And I say good because it has to have value. It has to actually be effective, right? Through good communication, you can learn understanding if you communicate well. If you communicate the proper way, you can learn how to unconditionally love that person without boundaries, for sure. And you can also learn tolerance if you can communicate well, because you learn the reason for why something keeps happening. You learn how to solve that problem, right? So the both of those together, I'm sorry that I keep saying I'm gonna try to fix it so I'm like not chopping and screwing this video, right? Anyways, those, just take a shot every time I say it's okay. Those two things together create longevity in a relationship to me, right? Love can come from those two things, but I feel like if you don't have trust, you can't have honesty, you can't respect a person. If you don't communicate well, you don't know how to love that person unconditionally. You can't be their friend first, which I think is super important, and you don't know how to have longevity. It's just impossible to make something last. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so the next one is, what are some signs my girl enjoys the relationship? So I'm not gonna try to use pronouns because I'm not sure who you are, who you love, right? But this person was, I guess, male or may have been female. Regardless, I diverge, right? So this person says, how do I know my girl enjoys the relationship? First of all, verbal communication, right? If you get a pizza and the pizza is good, what's the first thing out your mouth? Damn, this pizza is good, right? So same thing. If you love that person, you love the relationship, that person should be communicating to you how they feel about you, about the relationship, about the things you two do, right? So some other non-verbal cues, I don't know, I might sit on the pillow. I feel like I'm kind of short. Short person problems. Okay, I feel better. So some non-verbal cues are you seeing that person, y'all making arrangements to see each other often, right? So this goes into, if a person wants to see you, they're gonna make it happen, right? If this person wants Wendy's, they want some fries, they get there that day, right? If this person loves you, misses you, wants to see you, they're gonna make arrangements to see you. So the two of you see each other often, of course, if your situation permits. Another thing would be that you rarely have disagreements and conflicts. Okay, so I don't mean the smallest bicker, right? Because couples are going to argue from time to time, especially if you live with each other, especially if you're around each other all day long. Sometimes, because I've actually like been with a person and we not really argue as much, which is great. But if you do argue, you're able to resolve it effectively. You can identify what the issue is, what caused the problem. Each of you understand where you're coming from, so that goes back to good communication. And you understand how to make sure it doesn't happen again, right? And you actually genuinely care about not making that person upset in the same way again. I do believe that you shouldn't intentionally ever make a person upset about the same thing twice. If I care about you and you tell me something upsets you, I will make sure it doesn't happen again because I care about how you feel, right? So the last thing is that the two of you are actually, this is the last nonverbal, I'm sorry. So the two of you are actually attracted to each other, and this is without sex being the driving factor. Intimacy is important in relationships, yes, but I'm a strong believer if things get murky, cloudy in your head in a relationship otherwise. Now, I'm not saying if you're in a marriage, remove sex, but especially when you're not married. We're talking about not married, which I had a person ask me about marriage, but that's a talk for a different day. Marriage works differently than girlfriend, boyfriend, than friendship, than courting, than dating. Yeah, y'all remember courting? Never mind. Then courting, then dating, okay? It's different. Marriage is different. It's a vow. It's a commitment, okay? And as wives or women, we have certain things we're supposed to fulfill for our husbands and vice versa. They have certain obligations to us, so that's different. I'm not talking about a marriage, right? But if things get complicated, which we're going to talk about complicated in a few minutes, but if things get complicated, intimacy, and I don't mean affection like PDA or regular affection, I mean intimacy, you know what I mean? I'll say that's the first thing that goes. You cannot think straight being intimate with a person. Everything gets thrown out of whack because all you're thinking about is those feelings. You don't need those feelings when you're trying to make a calculated decision, right? Anyways, I diverge again. I go off on tangents all day long, y'all. So get some popcorn. Y'all in quarantine anyways. So sit on the couch with me and let's talk like we've been doing. But you genuinely have to be attracted to that other person. I've spoken with friends before. I know people who are genuinely like, I like that person, but I'm not attracted to him or her anymore because of X, Y, Z. Well, if you can't talk that out and work that out, you won't find longevity. It may be a quick thing that may be satisfying to you or the other person, both parties, but you won't find longevity in that for sure if you don't love and are attracted to that other person. So the third question someone asked is, what are some things you've learned in relationships? The first important thing is probably self-control, and mastery of your emotions is probably one of the most important things. I'm a very intense, deep person, which I'll talk about that later. Somebody asked me that question, but that's who I am in love and in other things. If I'm passionate about something, I care about it, there's no other way to be about it, right? So if that's how I am, my emotions get tangled up very fast. It makes everything gray when it needs to be black and white for me to see, right? So I definitely say being able to manage those emotions, that way you can communicate. It's a dragonfly, y'all, I almost lost my mind. But being able to communicate what you need to the right way and the right words, you can communicate anything to anybody. It's how you communicate it, not what you have to say, right? So emotions can tend to make you say things you don't mean, say them in ways that you don't mean, ineffectively express things that you need to express to that other person. And it may be important that you hear, but an emotion like anger, sadness, sorrow, desperation can have you acting out. And I know you know what I mean, right? So I think mastery of those emotions and just being able to put them on the back burner. It's normal to have emotions, that's not what I'm saying, but just being able to say, all right, this is a normal emotion that I'm having, but I won't allow this emotion that I have to affect how I care about this person and how I'm gonna let this person know what I have to tell them. I'll try to keep it short because I have a lot of these to go, a lot of questions to go that I want to expand on. One thing that I think that robs you, you know, another one of these life lessons, is having this dream in your head of this perfect situation. And when anything else outside of this situation arises that's not within your left and right limits, it can rob you of happiness, of what's right in front of you. Sometimes you have to understand that you have to let go, not of your dreams or of morals and standards, but kind of let go of that cookie cutter situation that you had going on and just be fluid, be flexible, especially if it's a person that you love and you want to make it work. Sometimes everything doesn't go as planned, but if that person is meant for you, everything will be okay. The next thing would be that if a person is meant for you, I feel like they accentuate and amplify the best parts of you and kind of fulfill almost your shortcomings. Another little rule that I like to go by is that if you won't remember it in 5 years, you don't need to be upset about it more than 5 minutes. Now, I'm not a big grudge holder, but you know, sometimes something really makes you upset. You just gotta let it go for the sake of the day and your relationship. And lastly, people make time for what they want, okay? So I don't believe in things are complicated. There's no reason. People make things complicated. I actually had a very good friend of mine, you know, back when, but he actually told me, why do you think things are complicated? And I'm like, just because they are, right? Things can be complicated. No, things are not complicated. Explain to me what's complicated about it. And when you really look at it at its like core components, it's not complicated. You make a decision. You make a decision about who you want. You prioritize who you want. And if a person doesn't prioritize you, I'll be honest, I'm putting the disclaimer up now, okay? I'm not the channel you come to when you want sugarcoat, because I'm a blunt and honest person, right? If a person doesn't prioritize you, it's because you're not top priority, and you should be. There's someone out there who will make you top priority, or it's just not time for you to be top priority, but it still stands all in all, they didn't prioritize you. Or they did, and things are amazing, right? So the next question is, how do you feel about a woman pursuing a man? All right, and this is pretty interesting. So I'm gonna try my best to quote a friend that I saw something she posted, because I agree 100% and I don't need to state it any other way. She said, never make a man tell you twice that he doesn't want you. She said 9 times out of 10 it's his actions, and she said if a man is interested, he will pursue. It's in men's nature to pursue, and you can fight me here or there, you know, we can talk about this all day long, we can argue back and forth. Men are by nature, they pursue, right? They provide, they go get, or you would think so. We have different situations and circumstances now, but the traditional man that I like, that's the type of man he is. That's the type of man I was raised, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna get too far off into that. But a man will pursue you if he wants you. So 9 times out of 10, if he's not pursuing you, it's because he's 1, not interested, or 2, it's just not the right time, or there's something else in his life that is inhibiting that from him, right? Like, you know, school, work, another woman, it is what it is, you know, whatever the case may be, something is stopping him. Or either he's just not interested, like I said. She pretty much said that if a man doesn't pursue after you've made it crystal clear that you're interested, you may as well leave it be. And that's not in the spirit of saying, oh, well, if he's not gonna come get me, then I'm too good to be chasing. But if you make an honest effort to say, hey, I'm interested in you, hey, I'm interested in this, or looking into doing this with you, and he doesn't get on it, it's because he doesn't want to, or something is stopping him. So plenty fish in the sea, I guess. All right, so the 5th question, what type of person are you in a relationship? I'm highly emotional. I'm just looking at this question because somebody's thinking about me. Anyways, I'm highly emotional, which can be a good or bad thing, because like I said, you can be highly emotional. It makes my relationships that much more intense, that more passionate, I think, because I am an intense and passionate person. This was the comment I was saving for you. Drop it below what you think my sign is. Not that I think signs rule the universe. I'm not that person for sure, but drop it below what you think I am. If you're a friend of mine and you know what I am, hold it. Don't go there. Don't. Comment something different. But anyways, I'm very passionate, intense, until I have, you know, exhausted myself through emotion, at which I kind of get numb, which isn't a good thing, because you can't heal if you kind of build this scarred over shell. It just doesn't work well, I think. I'm pretty understanding. I'm laid back until I have reason not to be, and then I'm just not. Like, I'm on edge, super intense, but in a different way that isn't good. I think I'm very loving. Even in friendship, my friends can tell you, if I've been friends with them for a long time, I'm selfless, I'm compassionate, I'm caring, I try to be a healer, I try to be solution oriented. So with that being said, if I'm solution oriented, I like to think I'm action oriented. My mom raised me that way. You know, I'm not a person who's like, this is the problem, how are you gonna fix it for me? If we have a problem, let's get to the bottom of it, let's fix it. That's the type of person I am. With that being said, with me establishing that I'm action oriented, I don't know about many people, but if I'm in a relationship, I'm all action, no talk. I like talk, don't get me wrong. I like PDA, I like verbal communication. I did say I'm a communicative person, right? I hope I said that right. Whatever. So I like to communicate, so don't get me wrong in that way, but communication without action means nothing to me, right? So you can tell me all day long, but if your actions are saying something completely different, it means absolutely nothing to me. And I think that is fair. If you miss me, don't tell me you miss me. If you miss me, show up here, tell me you're outside. If you're my man, don't just show up if you're a stranger. I'm gonna call the police. But that's the type of person I am. Like I said, I don't believe in complicated. I don't believe in any of that. You make time for what you want. You want to go get a haircut, you make your way to the barbershop, right? You want to go to the club, you make your way to that club on that Friday, Saturday, good night, right? You want to get with a woman, you make sure you take the proper steps to do what you got to do, right? But when it comes to being in a relationship, it's complicated. No, you have to make a decision. Sorry if the frame changed. I just killed a mosquito because I left my door open all day long because the weather is so nice. But anyways, and then thought my camera was gonna die on me, which it still is pretty close to dying. Cart was full. Look, I got a lot going on, y'all, but I'm gonna finish this video for you. So being submissive in a relationship, right? If I have the right man who has a good head on his shoulders, which I probably wouldn't be with him if I didn't think that he had a good head on his shoulders, then I can be submissive. You know, I feel like in certain respects, you know, especially in a marriage, women are to a certain extent supposed to let the man lead the way. Okay? So I can be in the right relationship if it's a healthy one, right? All right, number 6. What traits do you dislike? All right, I'm not trying to bash, okay? But you literally said, what traits do I dislike about men? That was what was posted on Instagram. So for sure, indecisiveness, not taking the time to be calculated and be sure in a decision, but literally being indecisive. It's okay to not know sometimes, but you're thirsty, you go get you some water, you make it happen. You're hungry, you go get you some food, you make it happen, like I said. But when it comes to anything concerning a relationship, you just never know. Come on. No, you know, you're wasting time. You're wasting my time. Come on. So with all that being said, my camera just died on me. If you're wondering why I changed positions again, I'm a bad YouTuber. I should have charged all this stuff up first, and you can see my light. I'll be making more videos soon. Like this video if you want a part 2 about relationships, or you want me to talk about one particular thing in depth, I can do that. Otherwise, leave me some other stuff. Again, follow my socials. I'll put them somewhere over here. Follow my socials. That way you can be involved. You can tell me what you want to see next. When I ask, what do y'all want to see me record next? You can be the one to tell me what you want to see, right? So with that being said, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.